Hi there, I'm Heather of heatherlavonjensen.com, and I'm reading from my book, When I Grow Up, I'm Going to Have So Much Amnesia. Chapter 22, Heroes Aren't Idiots, Even When They Fail. Clara's sympathy and compassion when I told her of the loss of my dog Toby reinforced my belief that asking her to be my therapist was one of the best decisions I'd made throughout this whole ordeal. Clara was excellent at protecting my boundaries, honoring my reality, and validating my feelings. She kept our sessions strictly to an hour, not a minute over. She always spoke to me with respect. She never asked leading questions or tried to crack open a memory. She respected my need to unravel each memory thread by thread, and rather than arguing or openly disagreeing with anything I said, she'd gently say, "I'm going to challenge your thinking on this one." When I began my usual litany of self-castigation for failing to save my dog, for not making the best choice and waiting until I could safely tell people in authority what my father had done, Clara reminded me that I was only a little girl. I couldn't know what would happen. I made the best decision I could with the information I had at the time. "I'm going to challenge your thinking on this one," she said. "Instead of believing that you made a mistake that doomed your dog, you might consider that it took courage to attack your father in defense of your sister. Bravery under fire is not a mistake. For most of recorded history, it's been considered heroic." Clara's words stayed with me as we did EMDR therapy to lessen the impact of the Toby memory. Was she saying I could look at myself as a warrior rather than a naive fool? When I looked in on the safe place later, to my surprise, I saw Nakoma there. Someone had built a fire in the white sand near the lake. I wondered if Nakoma did it or if one of the others did it to help him feel more at home. Several children, mostly the babies, sat around it with him, along with Ire, who lay full length toasting her tummy. He was still filthy, but he'd made an attempt to clean his face. He didn't look up at me or acknowledge me at all. Sunlight in the tree sat beside Nakoma and gripped one of his hands in hers. She said in an urgent voice, "Did you hear? Clara said it's good to try and save people." He didn't answer. As the days and weeks went by, Nakoma became a fixture in the safe place. I noticed his leathers became less tattered and dirty. He had begun to take better care of himself. It made me happy, and I told him so. He ducked his head. I couldn't tell if he was shy or if I was violating some custom of his people. I didn't even know who his people were. How can someone who lives inside me have people? I assured him that whatever happened in the past, it wasn't his fault. He looked off into the distance, sorrow etched into his face. He was too polite to openly disagree with me, but he obviously did. Nakoma and Sunlight became more attached to each other than to anybody else. To my relief, he began to pick her up and cuddle her when she cried. When she couldn't calm down, he'd sit cross-legged with her in his arms and rock her until she fell asleep, and it didn't matter how long that took. I was thankful to have help with Sunlight. Her turbulent emotions required so much time to settle. Nakoma's decision to take over as her caretaker allowed me to focus my efforts on my own children. One thought nibbled away at me. Why was Nakoma in a cave in the first place? Why was he convinced he had failed us all, convinced he deserved to rot in that dark hole forever? Thanks for listening. If you want to read ahead, down below in the description you'll find a coupon code for 50% off the ebook on my website, heatherlavonjensen.com. See you next time.